Good afternoon once again. It is January 29th, 2026. Welcome to Scouching Live. I am Will Scouch, obviously host of the show. I am extremely happy to be I'm extremely happy to welcome the producer of the show, Mr. AJ Jadero is here taking
producer
some
that does not operate the board so much anymore. I just look, but that's okay.
Your AJ is busy, with real life things, and he is now more of a,
Role player,
a contractor, more of a
freelance.
Yeah, freelance, come and go.
Emphasis
type.
on the free.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's very nice to have you back. As
Appreciate
always, we've been really hard at work. Before we get into specifics and the jokes and the silliness, since Monday, some of the guys I've had a look at, let me just make sure I have written the list down properly here. Monday was, Ryan Brown of, he was with Sarnia, but he's now with London. Carter Hicks, Beckham Edwards, Brooks Rogowski, Maddox Dagenet, and Logan Stewart. And then recently it's been Adam Anderson, Adam Gollier, Adam, Daxon Rudolph, Oscar Hemming. Finally got to look at him. Elton Hermansson, Jack Hextall, Oliver Suvanto, and Kasper Justavar Carlson, Casey Mutrin, Gleb Pugachev, and I feel like there were more, but probably not. I was in town yesterday visiting and hanging out with actually a member of our beloved community, so we had some fun and a couple of drinky poos and just had some good fun. But anyway, AJ, how have you been? How are things?
I've been okay.
Yeah.
I've been okay.
Better or worse than the Toronto Maple Leafs as a whole lately?
Oh, easily better.
Easily better? Okay, that's good.
If I was the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would be in shambles, and I am doing just fine. So
it seems like they are in shit. Did you see the report today that they had a director of sports science leave to go with Dubas to Pittsburgh, and they didn't replace the job? And they interviewed this person, and they're like, it does not surprise me that Toronto has so many injuries if they do not have the department that I used to run anymore.
Oh.
That came out today, and it's Jonas Siegel seems very adamant that Toronto's taken the team back in time, trying to undo a lot of the
good things.
Well, I'll take the Leafs back in time. No, I mean like back in time.
The good things is what I.
Yeah, trying to look at all of the modernity that they've invested in and maybe removing it from the equation. I don't know, but that is supposedly the issue or a core issue.
That's just awesome.
Have you seen them perform recently? Because I have.
No, because it's bad, and I want to avert my gaze.
Yeah, I mean, it is bad. I had who was I talking to? I forget who it was, but they were at the Buffalo game the other day, and they were legitimately pissed off at how bad it was. Like they were like, what do you even do? I don't, because you are of the opinion, and you've said this before, you are of the opinion that the team itself is not the problem. Like the
Most
players,
of the team is not the problem.
The players are not the issue, and I'm curious.
Well, some players are, but it's mainly on the defense side of things. Like I think the goalie tandem is awesome, and you even have Dennis Hildeby, who's come up and been good when he's had to come in, right? And I like the forward group. I know losing Mitch Marner is a big loss, but it shouldn't be this bad without him. Despite, you lose an 100-point player. Yeah, it's rough, but their issue is, as we've talked about before, they don't get the puck all that often. And when they do have the puck, they don't have it for very long because most of the guys on the D group don't know how to outlet a pass or move it in any capacity.
Yeah.
And then there are guys like Morgan Riley who have been turned into nothing because they didn't really utilize him for what he was. And they tried to make him into this nothing. When you try and make guys into two-way and they're not, you get some weird Well, not even weird. You just don't get a player that's like, you drafted him because he was special offensively, and yes, it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
but now you're holding that back. For what reason?
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, like this was kind of the issue last year with Toronto, where it's like they really relied on goaltending a lot. And it
Yeah.
just kind of, and now they're league average goaltending. They are literally right down the middle of the league when it comes to save percentage in all situations. If you only focus,
What's the volume of shots that
uh,
those guys face?
let's see, they have faced the most shots against, the most shot attempts against in the entire league. They have,
And they have an
holy,
average
okay.
goaltend. Yeah.
So in 53 games, they have faced more than 70 shots more than any other team in the league. And that's shots on goal, not shot attempts. Shot
Yeah.
attempts, it's 70, another 70. But shots against on goal is 77. And the next teams ahead of them, Minnesota and the Bruins, have played more games than Toronto. So Toronto's like way out ahead of everybody else when it comes to allowing shots on net, and that's definitely and that's at 5-on-5. That's not even all strengths.
And it makes me look smart, so I agree with it.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that was all situations, not 5-on-5. 5-on-5, they are still ahead, but it's only a 36 shot advantage over the Minnesota Wild, who have been the second worst in the league with regards to allowing shots on net. I mean, I don't know. And the PDO and Toronto's PDO is still above 1, so it could go lower than this. I think it could go lower.
Absolutely.
And now,
Like,
as
looking at this team, they're just. I think the forward group's good. They just don't get time with the puck all that often.
yes,
The goaltending's good, and it looks like it looks average because they're facing an insane volume of shots. Right, like if there's more opportunities for the puck to go in the back of the net, more often than not, it will go in more.
Yeah, I mean it is.
You can't have 6 Brandon Carlos. All right, that we can't do that. It's not okay.
No, you can't. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like it's kind of wild to me how time and time again teams are proving to themselves that like going in this direction, especially with a group of defensemen, is not a good idea. Like the number of times we have seen teams pinball from progressive and sort of thinking outside the box and like playing a little bit more of an upper pace level sort of offensive-ish defensive the defensemen with that kind of game in them, the teams that back away from that and the teams that go, oh, we need to be tougher in front of the net, we need to be tougher to push around, we need this and this and this, and then you build your entire defense group around it, and you wonder why you're losing, right? Like, and we see it so often. And so, now we're just seeing, I mean, it's kind of wild. Like, it's like...
It'll work in the playoffs. It'll work in the playoffs.
I mean, I guess if you get there...
That's what their argument is, but I just don't even agree.
It did not work in the playoffs last year, that's for sure. But in any case, I mean, the title of the show is Dead Last, because as of today, the Toronto Maple Leafs are dead last in their division. They have now been passed by the Ottawa Senators.
Gross.
And the trade deadline is when? March?
Usually.
Probably because of the Olympics. Yeah, March 6th. So, and with the rosters freeze on February 4th, and the Olympic break, let's see, how many games until... Okay, so the Olympic break starts on the 2nd. So we've got 4 more nights of NHL hockey. The Olympic break then is on the 2nd, and they're back on the 22nd, or something like that. So the Leafs probably have, 4 or 5 games between now and the trade deadline? And it's like, all right, even if they win all 5 of those games, is it like...
It's not enough.
It can't...
It's not enough.
It's... Because it's like, like they're above 500 right now, but I simply watching them play, I can't believe that that's the case. Like
I can, because there's something called overtime points.
True. Yeah, that's true. Winning in overtime is definitely a factor. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's it's rough, and watching them is rough. And like sometimes I pop in
I
just
don't do
to.
it. That's why I don't do it.
Sometimes
I'm
I
not
watch to
putting
pop in and
myself.
like the thing that okay, I don't want to talk about the Leafs the whole show, but the thing that really is starting to, as a resident of Toronto, really piss me off is their repeated inability to seem like they care about their like job. Like it like the other night against Buffalo, you're at home. The one of the legendary names in the history of the team through its darkest time is in the crowd. You're honoring him. He's got his whole family there. You if there's any reason, and it was the same thing with the game with Mitch Marner. Like if there was any reason for you to wake up on the right side of the bed and be like, I'm gonna go to my job today and I'm gonna kill it because this like legend is there that just for like just so he has a good time, right? But they couldn't even be bothered to like bring positivity or some sort of positive energy to that situation. They just clearly, and this is the other thing I talked about this with defensemen, but clearly you watch the Buffalo Sabres now and like they've been the butt end of jokes forever, but like they've been so bad for so long that they've amassed all of these younger, more modern players, and up and down their lineup you just watch them against a team like Toronto and you go, yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to wind the clock back to 2010, right? Like they are clearly in a different era right now relative to where the Sabres are. Like the Sabres are not perfect, but they're winning for a reason. And before Kevin Adams got fired, they should have been winning more statistically than they were. And so now they seem to be regressing. And you look at all of the young guys on that team that they've added and how they play and all of that stuff, like you just kind of look at it and go, I mean, I don't know what the Leafs are supposed to do to dig themselves out, number one. But number two, like the Leafs have not drafted a whole lot in the last few years. And the guys that they do draft, a lot of the time, you've got Easton Cowan on the team, but they've it's baffling to me that all of these decisions that have added up over the years, like we're still doing it. Like we're still making those mistakes and we're still thinking that like, oh, we can just, if we can only just grasp onto this idea of what is going on. But anyway, someone just said we're being boring because we're talking about Toronto. There's more interesting teams to discuss. Well, you tell us then. Your job is to tell us.
No, there aren't. Toronto's the center of the universe.
Well, Toronto is a flaming dumpster fire, and like, I'm sorry, people like when Toronto is a flaming dumpster fire. Like, it's like, isn't this what people want? Like, don't people want Toronto to be sad
because I'm not going nuts?
Yeah,
I normally would.
Isn't it good for NHL fans when the Toronto Maple Leafs are in the dumps and like a disaster? Everybody complains all the time. So here we are.
What do I do if I'm them? Sell off the expiring contracts, and this year I'm not as familiar because I checked out. I checked out after. I checked out mid-November. Like, this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And restructure the defense, man. Like, you don't have guys who are like, you don't have enough guys who are mobile and can move the puck around, and like you're spending a lot of time in your own zone as a result of, oh, we want this physical brand of defense. It's like, okay, we're focusing on one thing, one aspect of defending, guys who are big boys and separators. But you need somebody who they can give the puck off to and go for a skate or find space. And this team doesn't play all that fast either. It's a disaster. Get rid of Mikhail Gorbachev. I'm Greg Berube.
Oh, boy.
Kind of looks like Mikhail Gorbachev.
He does kind of look like Mikhail Gorbachev now. All right. Well, in any case.
I get rid of Treliving.
Yeah.
This guy's a moron, and I don't care. I'm not getting an NHL job. Berube, Treliving, morons. All right? It's as simple as that. You're just playing old man hockey. And I was worried about Brad Treliving being the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs. This guy is literally Brian Burke's protege. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brian Burke is a fairly interesting guy. Brad Treliving has nothing going about him.
Well, it's just a matter
other than he's ruining my hockey team.
Well, it's a matter of out-of-date thinking. It's just out of date. Like
Brad Treliving, expired milk.
I mean, yeah, the bag of milk is expired. Anywho,
Yes, the bag. The only way to have milk.
yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's get into the chat, because I mean, I don't know if you really we watched a bit of the NHL Draft, guys, today before the show. I don't know if you want to go over them much, or keep working behind the scenes and set the table for future episodes that you might join us on and have a better discussion, because we don't get to watch a ton.
Table, we can do that.
Well, I mean, yeah. We got you exposed to a couple of good ones today. Caleb Malhotra. Oh my God, too many names are too similar. Caleb Malhotra, Oliver Suvanto, and Wyatt Cullen were the three that we went over today. And I think you probably came away thinking that they were ordered about in the same way that they're ordered on my list, and that's not unusual, I don't think.
Yep, I say what Will tells me to say.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we don't actually do any work. I just tell him, here's what I think. Just keep regurgitating it, and we'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about right.
I like the game of Wyatt Cullen the best, and that's just because, it's one game sample.
Right.
But I thought Caleb Malhotra was very, very whatever. There was one play where I saw him on a forecheck where he did not move his feet at all, and I thought to myself, this is a guy I will never draft. If you don't move your feet on a forecheck, me no like you. All right. At least not enough to draft you. Right. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen Caleb Malhotra so many friggin' times this year that was kind of just what I'm used to with him. But
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you watch these guys more and more, and you just start going, okay, come on. How do people see it differently? Like, you watch the same guys who you like have more skepticism on over and over and over. And I watch you like spin your wheels and go insane towards the end of the class, always about guys. It's like, what am I missing? Like, you're just freaking out. It's like, what do they see?
Yeah.
What is it? I can't find it.
It's Pepe Sylvia all over again. That's all I do, is just every face is on the board, and I'm trying to connect them all together, trying to connect the dots, and I just can't figure it out. And everybody else has seemingly figured out something that I haven't. And then
they're pointing at you, and like they're Nelson from The Simpsons, laughing at you for not having Caleb Malhotra in the top 5. Okay.
And then the fans of whatever team drafts him ends up in the chat for 5 straight years asking if I regret it, or if I come to terms with how stupid I am. When he has a hat trick, they'll come in and
the first game of the season.
Yeah,
it's always the first game of the season that stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. But we'll
it takes a strong person of the mind to do the job you do, Will. It really does, because you have to sit in and hear all these conflicting opinions, and you're just trying to sift through the noise and watch as much of this guy as you possibly can.
Yep.
To come up with your own opinion, and then people will attack you for your own opinion. It's like,
people are free to do as they please. It's cool. It's fine by me. It definitely bothers me a lot less than it did when I first started doing this stuff. I kind of really whatever, but I mean, it just is what it is, and we just
you just love being in the most frustrating positions like that. That's
well, I don't love it. I don't love it, but I happen to be in them. Yes, I find myself in them. That's the thing. I don't like it. But I'm really good at making things really hard for myself, and I don't know why. It's been the thing ever since I was born. I even made being born hard for myself. It took me forever to be born. Like, I just refused to be born as long as I possibly could, and finally it happened. I mean, my mother, bless her heart.
Will didn't want to get out into the world.
She was pissed off, man. Yeah, right away with me. Day one, just pissed off.
Will didn't want to get out into the world. He wanted to stay in the womb and watch all the players on his computer instead of actually driving to locations and seeing these guys and then leaving 10 minutes into the third period to beat the traffic. Will made it so difficult for himself.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we can do here with AJ on the line today, this afternoon, whatever it is.
Yes.
I mean, it might be nighttime for our beloved European viewers, but for the time being, we're in Canada. And anyway, why is Carson Carroll's top 5 in people's rankings? Looks like he's a better skating Jackson Smith, in my opinion, which I guess is okay. So AJ hasn't seen Carson Carroll's yet, but
no, I did.
Oh, did you?
I
Oh,
saw
we
him.
did. Yes, we did.
Yeah,
We did on Thursday last week.
yes.
Yes. I mean, why?
I remember not thinking much.
Yeah, I mean, why is he in top fives? I mean, number one, he was at the World Juniors, so instantly he's going to get a bump from that. But also, like, I think he is a relatively. I wouldn't put him in the same conversation as Jackson Smith. Like Carroll's sort of hockey sense is solid. Like he kind of positions himself well, and he moves okay, and he's got a bit of skill, and he can really explode up the ice. Like if there's a loose puck in the neutral zone, he'll charge into the offensive zone with it. Like if he's attacking the offensive zone, it's another one of these typical Canadian defensemen who are, I would argue, not the most successful defensive players or the most physically intense, even though they're big, but what they do bring is like good benefits in the offensive zone. And it's like that is all fine and good and it works where they're playing, but then you end up seeing them at the World Juniors and you go, wow, like they're being tested a lot and not like how is Canada giving up 5 goals in this game? And you kind of watch them in detail and you're like, oh, these guys don't play in the defensive zone too often when they're back at their clubs or whatever, or you know. And it's like with Carroll's, it's another one of those where it's like, I don't think he's I think he's positionally aware, and like there's a lot of things that he does just fine. I think that his game is at its best in the offensive zone, and when I see defensemen whose games are at their best in the offensive zone, it scares me because you need to defend, like you need to be able to defend, and teaching someone to defend can take a very, very long time.
Unless you're Lane Hudson.
Sure.
And he at least does defend. It's just, like that's why you had him lower.
Right.
You had him higher than most, but you didn't have him as a first round guy because.
Oh, he was in my first round.
Oh, well, okay. Late first round, right?
Yes. Mid. I think he was 24 or something like that.
Yeah, that's mid to late. Fair enough. Sorry for misspeaking.
No, but your point still remains. Like it does still remain. Like otherwise Hudson would have been like top 10 for me. Like his defending was not great. And his skating ability certainly did not look like a guy who was going to overcome the issues that were in his game. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, like with Carroll's, I don't see it personally. I think he's worth taking in the first round. But it's another one of these things where it's like there are just other defensemen that I've seen a lot of too that are at the very worst comparable to him. And if I can get a comparable-ish player who looks more like what I look for in an NHL defenseman, and I can get them around later, then great, right? Like that sounds good to me. And I think there are other defensemen this year who bring a lot more to the game as they are now than Carroll's does. And I think a big thing that sort of exposed that was the World Juniors. Like there were a few defensemen at the World Juniors this year who, when they played, I thought looked a lot better than Carson Carroll's did in that tournament. But I hope that's an explanation of why he's there. I mean, I personally don't, but people do it. People are doing it for a reason. Not worried about Lawrence's transition to the NCAA. I watched a game of him and he was not noticeable. Well, I mean, if I was worried, that would imply that I haven't ever seen him play before. Like, you can't let watching a game, like, you can't let watching one game, like, switch your thinking completely of, like, like, to me, it's like you watch, think about it this way, right? Like, he's never played in college hockey before, and he's being dropped into the program halfway through the season on a good program that has been like really looking for improvement. Like they've been a little bit behind the ball compared to a lot of other teams in the NCAA. And so they just like plopped him into the lineup halfway through the season. Plus he was injured for like, he only played like 9 games in the USHL this year. And then he packed his bags and went to Boston. So like, I think that if you watch him play in that scenario and you automatically go, or you right away, you're going like, well, I don't know anymore. I when I watch Tynan Lawrence with Boston University, which is a couple of times now, I see a lot of issues with that team moving the puck around him, getting possession of the puck, utilizing his strengths and everything. Like, Like, he plays on a line with Cole Eiserman in the games I've seen, and that can be a double-edged sword. Like, there's positives to playing with a Cole Eiserman on your line, and there are issues, and you have to work around those. And I think Lawrence does fill those issues well, but I think it might, take time to get settled and long term sort of whatever. Like, I haven't tracked a game of him yet at the NCAA level, but I'll tell you this, like, at the USHL level, honestly, I don't think he should have been there in the first place. Like, his numbers are so good in so many areas that it's like he's kind of getting away with doing way too much on his own. And, like, that's not projectable. Like, that's not a good environment. So I personally see it as a benefit that they're throwing him to the wolves with a really good college program, and they're like, just figure it out. Like, here you go. You're challenged. This is what you want. This is what you're going to get, and whatever. And look, if NHL scouts who saw him play at the Hlinka and with Muskegon this year and with Muskegon last year are seeing him move up a level in play and go, well, he's not picking it up immediately, I don't know, then it's like, then you're not doing the job properly, I don't think. Like, I don't think that you can do that. And, like, I know some people might be thinking, well, what about McKenna? Like, McKenna went to college and he's producing and Lawrence isn't. So, like, what's the difference there? And it's like, McKenna is, I think, number one, McKenna's production almost ubiquitously up till very recently was on the power play, which can be very noisy and very much dependent on deployment. But also, like, nobody is disputing McKenna's playmaking and point production ability, right? Like, that's not the dispute. With Lawrence, his value is all over the ice, and I don't expect Tynan Lawrence to be a 100-point guy in the NHL ever. In the same way that I never expected Matthew Beniers to be a top 100-point guy in the NHL, but a very, very, very valuable member of a line in a very, very valuable role. Absolutely. Right. Like, and so, yeah, I don't really, like, again, I can't let a mid-season jump in opposition where also he's being played like in their top 6 first line. And it's like, here's the flashy new 17-year-old playing NCAA hockey. Like, good luck. And then sort of holding it against him for not looking dominant or not looking up to whatever expectations you might have had. I just think you're asking yourself to undervalue someone because of that. Like, I watched Oscar Hemming the other day, and I really like Oscar Hemming. I think for a guy, again, being dropped into the NCAA mid-season and not having played a single game before, he looks pretty good. I still like Tynan Lawrence more, but that's impressive. Like, that's an impressive thing. And I think Lawrence with Boston University has looked fine, but not like a dominant first overall pick contender. But it's an adjustment, right? Andy spent a lot of this season injured, but the track record is what you have to focus on, right? It's about his long-term history and long-term past. You're not thinking about, well, the time between December 2025 and February 2026 is when I fell off the wagon. It's like that, then you're kind of missing the point. Ludwig Soderberg has sneaked into the bottom of your board. He's a new name. What's the skill set and what's his projection? Well, that's an optimistic one for me. I love this guy. He's playing for Södertälje in Sweden. Really, he is an extremely productive defenseman at the junior level. Like, being over, like, he's getting points on about a fifth of his team's goals this year, which for a defenseman is pretty darn good. Like, 25 is usually my benchmark for, like, definitely very notable. And so his team down there is not particularly good last time I checked. But to me, like, I think he's one of the best defensive skaters in the draft, like, in terms of mobility and skill level and the ability to handle the puck at a high speed and run rushes out of the defensive zone and connect on passes. Like, he's a very reliable passer. He's a very skilled defenseman. I think he brings more to the game than a lot of guys who people are giving a lot of attention to. And I do think that his defensive zone game is a bit of a question mark, and I think that he's been turned around a little more than I would like. And beating along the boards and all that stuff, but like you can't fault the effort, and he does position himself well on the rush, and like when I the last game I tracked of him was at the men's level, and he tracks play really well at that speed. Like Hockey Allsvenskan is not a joke, and he tracks play well for a defenseman at that speed. It's just a matter of being a little physically outmatched right now. He's not small, but he is a little physically underdeveloped as well. I just look at him and go, I think you leave this guy in Sweden for a few years. He's going to, you put him, as long as he's in a position to be more offensive leaning, and you give him the puck and you let him sort of run free a little bit, then I could totally get behind it. I really like him. Every time I watch him, and then I go and watch other defensemen that people have top 2 rounds, I go, I think I'd rather have this guy. I'm sure I could be proven wrong by the end of the year, but I've really, really liked him going back to last year. He was in my notes a lot, and took him a bit of time to get moving offensively this year with the junior team in Södertälje, but he's wrecking it now and up on the men's club and looking pretty good. So I really, really like him. Probably worth a look, and I don't think he's getting the attention he deserves. Who from 2025's draft has raised their stock the most this year? Oh boy. Whoever owns silver, probably. Whichever NHL draft prospect from last year who owns silver is probably the one doing the best. It's a good question. It might be like a Braden Coots. Ben Kindle. That's probably the right answer, is Ben Kindle. Like I was one of the most optimistic Ben Kindle people in the world, and never in my life did I think he was going to go to the NHL next year and have a half a point a game season. Like that's just so far beyond my expectations of him from last year that it's kind of almost like nonsensical. So I feel like that's the answer. Because, like, you can look at other guys and go, well, Keishan Aitchison's going to score 40 goals in the OHL this year, or, whatever. Like, pick your favorite player. But it's like, yeah, but he's not an 18-year-old on a 40 or 50-point pace in the NHL on a team that everybody expected to win, like, 10 games, and they might be in the playoffs. Probably will make the playoffs, right? Like, I don't think anybody, and especially the guy who, when they drafted him, everybody but me was like stunned, like I remember that everybody went, I remember when Pittsburgh Penguins fans were like, I'm going to jump off a bridge now. This is why Kyle Dubas is an idiot. Like, this is why everything is a failure now because of Kyle Dubas. And it's like, clearly I haven't seen this guy play hockey. Okay. But like, let's be patient. And turns out we didn't need to be patient, right? Like, here we are. So probably him. Pipparinen below Gustafsson and Hawkinson is a choice. Why? Why is that a choice? Because I've seen all three of those guys a lot. I love them all a lot. I'd rather take all of them over most of the Canadian defensemen people are yapping about constantly. I've been watching Gustafsson in the SHL, man. That guy's playing like top pairing minutes in the SHL as a 17-year-old. Like, I'm sorry, but like that's not easy to do. And he is, I think he may very well end up the top defenseman on my board this year. I think he is outstanding, and he has so much physical development to go from here. He's still pretty scrawny. Pipparinen might end up over Hawkinson on my list, but I also still look at Hawkinson and go, I think the upside with him is really, really high. But him and Pipparinen, I think, are a coin flip. But Malte Gustafsson has been just outstanding in the last month or two. And that'll be a fun one to show AJ down the road.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, Wyatt Cullen, top 15. Yes, I love him. Every game I've seen of Cullen, he's looked better and better and better this year since missing a pretty big chunk of the beginning of the year. And it was another one of those things where I watched a game of Cullen and then tracked a couple of games of, who was it at the time? Belchets, Hermansen, and I want to say Suvanto. Was it him or something? I don't know. And it was like, I just see high-end tools in Cullen that I don't see in a lot of these other guys. Like his skill level and his vision and his playmaking. He's almost a 2027 draft kid. Really dynamic, thinks on the fly really well, makes really good reads of his opponents. I really, really like what Cullen brings to the game, and AJ did too, so that works out. That's 2 strikes. Two checks in the check boxes.
2 checks, yes.
Yeah, 2 checks in the check boxes. And so Cullen's really rocketed up my boards. I mean, he was the guy last year on the NTDP who I was like, I'm going to keep an eye on this guy. I don't hear much about him, but I liked him from what I saw of the NTDP in the summer, watching him play last year. And so seeing him come back from injury and maybe not looking as dynamic or as quick or agile, and it's like, well, he just hasn't gotten his legs under him yet. And just time and time again now you're seeing him taking steps and taking steps and taking steps. And I would bet that he could be a fantastic long-term bet. Central Scouting had him at 23 in North America, so that's like a fringe first-round pick. But I think he looks like a lot more of a high-end, skilled first-round pick than that. Like there's a bit of he's almost kind of like a bit of a Riker Lee-esque player to me. Maybe not as like flashy and creative, but definitely as much of like a lethal, high skill offensive player, like that kind of vibe. And I'll go to bat for Cullen for the rest of the year for sure, especially because relative to Riker Lee last year, I believe Riker Lee was an 06, and Wyatt Cullen is almost 2027 eligible. So I like him. I like the guy. Good player. What do you think about Charlie Stramel at the time of the draft and now? Yeah, Stramel, I remember liking him at the draft. I remember liking him maybe a little bit more than people, but I feel like I had him in a similar range to everyone else. And I mean, with Stramel, a lot of it came down to, I mean, he was playing on Wisconsin at the time, and that team at the time was not very good or fun to watch. And Stramel, I still felt like there was enough size and energy in his game, and and physical intensity that some sort of a bottom 6 NHL role, whether it's at the center position or on the wing, was probably in his future. He just plays like a guy who, as long as he doesn't, as long as he has his head on straight, he's going to probably get a good shot at making an NHL team. And there was skill in his game for sure. There was a nice amount of skill in his game, but you never saw it. And when it did come out, it wasn't really achieving much. A lot of it was like board protection work or trying to create little pockets of room, and but there wasn't a whole lot that came out of it. And so with Stramel, it seems like now over the years he's really gained a bit more of a northbound sort of puck control approach. To pushing the game in the offensive direction and taking on a little bit more opportunity and trying to challenge guys a little bit more one-on-one on the fly. And so I think he's definitely taken some good steps since going to Michigan State. And again, like I felt like at the time when they drafted him, when Minnesota drafted him, I kind of went, well, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I feel like people who think it's a bad pick day one are wrong, because he has all the ingredients to be something. And like in the 20s of the NHL draft, if you get an everyday third liner, like that's pretty good. Like you did fine. And so I think that's probably what Minnesota's going to get. And I mean, you look at the Minnesota pipeline now, and you look at the Minnesota roster down the lineup, and you wonder what that team's going to look like in 4 or 5 years. I could easily see Charlie Stramel on that team down the lineup somewhere, playing a physical role and not looking too bad doing it. Like he's a fine player. And he's definitely grown quite a bit since, like hockey wise, he's grown quite a bit since his draft, I think. Thoughts on both of us? Thoughts on Will Smith before he was before the draft year and up to now? Were you on the bus for the Will Smith year?
I was watching. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let you talk because I've talked forever, and then I'll tell you you're wrong.
I liked him, but I didn't love him. Like he was definitely super offensively skilled, but like he wasn't necessarily an AJ guy, because all my guys are super fast and like super intense. And doesn't mean he's a bad player. There are other guys that I like more. I think I wouldn't say that like I had a really good ranking system that year, other than just following along what Will said and then kind of adjusting it on who I liked more within Will's. That's what we all do. That's how you cheat.
Oh, sure.
Um, so I thought he was good, but just not my kind of player. But I had him in the top 10. I think he was probably at 6. Like I liked Oliver Moore better.
Yeah, I mean, I had Moore one spot higher too. I think Moore brings a much more competitive game, like much more complete game than Will Smith, but he definitely doesn't have the sort of skill level and creativity that Smith does. Like Will Smith, to me, when he was drafted, he was playing center that year, and it was so glaringly obvious to me that I would not be drafting him to play center. Like I looked at him and I went, this guy could be a 100-point winger if you played him on the wing with a really great guy up the middle of the ice, on on your first line and gave him the power play time. Because the skill level, like if you put him in the right environment, in the right position to be an offensive NHL player, in a weird way, there's like echoes of him in like a McKenna, where you watch those guys play and you go, I don't even really care about the defensive shortcomings because you give him the puck and he makes things happen. You give him the puck and, McKenna's, I think, a better playmaker and a better, actual contributor offensively than Will Smith was. But still, I think they're comparable. And, Smith didn't really cross the echelon of me thinking he was going to be a center. And it was always weird to me that the Sharks were playing him there when they did. But now that he's got like a Macklin Celebrini to work off of, it makes a ton of sense. Like it's no wonder that those guys have really popped off this season because they are excellent as a complementary pair. I think that each other would not be having the success they've been having without each other. I think Will Smith is a really talented player at the time. He was tremendous amounts of fun, very, very, very skilled. But I had him where I had him because I kind of sat there going like, he has a very defined role that if you keep him in it, he will thrive, really thrive. But I'm more interested in guys that like are more reliable in more areas of the ice and that I know will move the game in the right direction always. Whereas Smith, it's like in the right scenario, he definitely will. But there are scenarios where he might have issues. And I think that's just continued to be true. But at the end of the day, he's still Will frickin' Smith, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Landon Amerheim and Tommy Blale thoughts. Yeah, I mean, they're both watch listed guys for me right now. I really like Amerheim because of the sort of like he's one of these guys that's like I really would want to get in his ear a little bit and try to get him to be a little bit more of a higher energy physical guy because he does have those tools there, but he's just kind of a floaty, hanging around type guy who then once in a while he'll just grab the puck, do a spinorama, or knock it off the boards to himself and throw the puck out in front, tape the tape, and set up a beautiful play. Like, you don't see very often from a guy that tall, right? So, an interesting player, but, like, there's a lot of times where it's one of those things where it's like early in the year I watched him and I went, okay, like, there are individualized moments here when I'm really excited watching this guy. So if I see more of that, then I'm going to hang on to him where I have him and like really put a lot of time into this guy. And it's like, now it's gotten to the point where it's like, well, I'm just still waiting for more of that positive side of his game. And if anything, the last few times I've seen him, it's kind of like gone away a little bit. Like he's not getting as many looks. He's not getting as many puck touches. He's whatever. But then once in a while though, you still see, holy crap, look at this 6'5" or whatever kid, dangling the puck around, setting plays up that nobody saw coming and all that stuff. So he has his ups and downs, I would say, and definitely draftable, but I think there's a pretty decent chance that like it doesn't work out. But I like him. And Tommy Blale is definitely a very confident offensive defenseman. Like he has been given more and more of the green light, it seems, with Moncton to basically go to town, attack the middle of the ice, attack off the blue line, attack. And he just goes and he's willing to shoot the puck all of the time. It goes back to the fact that he is a bit of a smaller defenseman. He's not very strong on his feet. I don't think he's quite an elite enough skater in the games I've seen to really be confident that I would want him I've seen him in the first round with people. I don't think I'm there. I just think he's one of these guys where is he going to have the floor defensively for a coach to trust him in the NHL one day. I think that may happen. But the more I watch him, the less confident I am, because in order to produce, he has to take on a lot of risk. And defensemen who take on a lot of risk, who also have trouble defending, does not sound like a recipe for an NHL coach to go, yes, I'm going to play you in a bunch of different situations, and on my second pair, you're going to play 20 minutes tonight, right? Like, that doesn't strike me as a great combination. Could he get there? Sure. I don't see why not. But I just think he has a pretty long way to get there. But I do think that Blale could be an excellent college defenseman. Like, I think there's a bit of like a Sean Barron style resurgence with Blale, where Barron's was a bit undersized, but the skating ability was pretty good, and he was very, very skilled and very, very confident and loved to do all kinds of stuff on his own. And he ended up a second-round pick, which is probably right where he should have ended up. And he had a great college career. Like, I think Blale will be a very good college player. But the NHL, I don't think you can say with certainty right now what's going to happen with him. I mean, I don't think you can say anything with certainty with any of these guys, but I feel less certain about him than almost everyone that I've actually liked him this year, but I have a lot of question marks about, where he ends up. Rank these players: Cooper Williams, Noah Kozik, and Chase Harrington. I'd probably go Kozik first, then Cooper Williams, and then Chase Harrington. But I'm gonna see Chase Harrington in more detail like next week, probably. Tomorrow, if you're a member of the Scouching Discord server, we're going to be doing office hours tomorrow for as long as I possibly can. I've got some video editing to do tomorrow, but we're going to do some office hours, and we're going to go through all the heavy hitters, all the big guys, all the big ones. So yeah, got to do a pass through the top end of the board and see how we're feeling. So that'll be tomorrow. But next week we'll be doing stuff like Chase Harrington and everything like that. Talks about Toronto being a dumpster fire while I sit at work in British Columbia. The thing about that is, like, Vancouver, like, you have stuff. Like, with Vancouver, at least you see the trajectory, right? With Toronto, there's, like, no hope, That's the difference. Like, in Vancouver, it's like, yeah, you lost your leg, but, like, that it's like you lost your leg, but like your buddy has a cool prosthetics company that might cut you a deal, and you're like, all right, maybe it won't be so bad if I play my cards right. I'll figure it out. Whereas in Toronto, it's like, no, there's nothing. You don't have anything. There's no hope. Your leg is coming off, and nobody's going to be there to help you after. It's like there's no picks, there's no prospects, there's no nothing. Whereas with Vancouver, you've got guys in the lineup like who are at least young, right? You've got Linus Karlsson, who's cooking around. You got Atu Ratu, who's been playing well. You just made a trade where you added Zeev Buyum and Marco Rossi and Liam Ogren. You drafted Tom Wielander. You have Braden Coots in the wings. Like I'm sorry, but Vancouver, it sucks when you lose, but you can at least point to some things where you're going, all right, but at least there's this. In Toronto, the team is bad, the management is bad, the future looks bad, the pipeline is bad. Like it's pretty much bad on all fronts. The Rangers, maybe you could make an argument, but I think Vancouver is doing okay, all things considered. Thoughts on Luke Evangelista, draft year versus now? I mean, I didn't see a ton of him in his draft year. He kind of slipped through the cracks for me that year. I wasn't as deep on the 2019 draft as I was for 2020 and beyond. But I did like he's a very fun, skilled, complimentary winger. Like I've always felt like he could you plop him with some skilled players and he'll produce. Just a really slick puck handler and not, nothing too, I don't know. There's nothing too complicated, but he's just good at what he's good at, I don't know. And he's always kind of just been that way. Like I feel like he's been like a 50-point guy his whole career, every single season, pretty much since he was in the NHL. But anyway, is Simon Edvinsson a top pair defenseman? I mean, probably. I mean, he's been really good for Detroit. I can't say I've seen a ton of Detroit this year, but when I have watched them, it's like they definitely look like a team that's taken a step, and they definitely look like a team that their younger guys are definitely taking steps up the ladder. So that's great. I think there's a lot to like about that team right now. And I mean, look, when you draft 40 times in 3 years, like you better come away with some good players. And I think they've done that. And so, yeah, Simon Edvinsson. I don't know about like stud top pair defenseman. I don't know what that means, but certainly not looking out of place doing a role like that. I think he's been paired with Moritz Seider pretty much all year, if I'm not mistaken. So not bad. Not a bad gig. What happened to Ryan Rubrek? I feel like college might be good for him. I don't think anything happened to Ryan Rubrek. Like, I remember watching him last year and just not really fully feeling it with him. And I actually was talking to Jordan Millette about him because Millette followed him a bit in his draft year. I think it was his first year doing the OHL draft stuff when Rubrek was there. And he also feels the same about Rubrek, where it's like he's big, but you're never going to get a big man's game out of him ever. And he's not a real great defensive player, but guys like that just don't have the skill level and the shot that he's got. So that's kind of what you're betting on. And when you watch him with Niagara last year, like he's scoring less because he's not playing with Kevin He, right? Like last year, Kevin He was unbelievable for them. And Rubrek was a beneficiary of that. Like Rubrek needs a guy who stirs the drink, right? You know, I think Rubrek's skill level and, you know, his playmaking vision is pretty good too. Like that's another positive. But I just think Rubrek has never really been like, oh my God, top 10 pick, right? Like I think he just was more physically developed than a lot of his competition as a youth player. And now he's just sort of a decent, intriguing, big skill guy who is draftable. I have him in my second round. But I don't think he's like, I have a game of his to do, so I'm going to check in on him again next week. But his numbers pretty much across the board in my data are pretty limited. I mean, I'm going to double check that because I don't want to be made to look a fool. Here we go. Rubrek. Yeah, like his shooting metrics are decent to good. Yeah, like it's not okay. So yeah, his offensive generation is not really the problem. But his transition game is not very good. He's just a very limited player, I think. And that's fine, but you got to know what you're getting. And I thought first round was a little crazy, at least at the time, and maybe he could squeak his way into the late first round if like the trends continue here, but I don't know. I would be very curious to interview him and sort of pick his brain a little bit, but an interesting player, but I don't know about like super highly valued in the draft class. Does it make you smile seeing teams that have drafted and drafted and drafted start to make playoff runs? Of course it does. It's you know, I don't want teams to suck forever. It's no fun. like it's, you know, like I don't like that. You know, and yeah, like I like seeing teams who have accumulated a lot of like all of those teams that you mentioned, San Jose, Anaheim, Detroit, Buffalo, all of them, like I wouldn't agree with everything they've done, but they've still added some of my favorite players to watch over the years, right? Like San Jose's got Celebrini, but they've also got Eklund and Smith, and now they've got Liljegren, if you want to call that a success. But like they've got Askarov there now. Like they've got all kinds of guys who over the years have been like, yeah, you know, Chernyshov as well is another one of those guys. Anaheim, like I've been critical of Anaheim here and there, but at the end of the day, when you come away with like Leo Carlson, and I mean, I will admit I was wrong on Cutter Gauthier. I think he's looked great this year for them. You know, Beckett Seneca's having a great start to his career, right? Like that's awesome. You know, they've just added a lot of really entertaining players to watch, and Detroit, they've taken a little more time to get there, but they also have some guys that are veterans that are also helping that team move along. Like Buffalo, like again, like I remember as a kid when the Buffalo Sabres were good and exciting and what that was like. And like it, you know, like you want teams to be good. You want teams to try to win. You want teams to be competitive, right? Like, so yeah, of course. And if they do it through drafting guys that I like, then it makes me look smart. So I agree with it. And it's awesome. It's great. So yeah. Are there any 2026 players you've watched that you think would be thought of higher if they were playing on a different team? It's a very good question.
Probably a lot of good answers for it.
There
too.
are probably a lot of good answers. I think Mathis Preston was being given that opportunity before he exploded.
And now he will just suck in the eyes of everybody else. Now he's just gonna
suck. Yeah, he's just gonna suck. It's a really good question. Wiggo Sorensen for sure, because Division 2 hockey in Sweden is not good.
Is that the guy who or who's the guy that we were watching that is like playing in the Farmers League?
Yeah, that's him.
Yes.
Yeah. We did watch the one game he played at the top division of under 18 hockey where he had 3 points and probably could have had 6, maybe 5. But he was very good. He needs to be on a different team. I don't know. Adam Novotny is probably another one. I would have liked to see him back in Czech. Like he's been okay this year with Peterborough, but I have my doubts. I mean, Lars Steiner's going back to Switzerland. I would have liked to see him over there too this season. Like I just think in Quebec, like he's kind of outgrown that league a little bit, and so I might like to see him play pro hockey and see what that looks like. There's like the other thing too is like pretty much any junior aged player, like or junior league player, I would love to be able to see them in European pro, right? Like what does Carson Carroll's look like in Liga? What does Chase Reed look like on an SHL team, right? Like Albert Smith's on the Oshawa Generals, right? Like what do those guys look like? And unfortunately we don't get that experience. The only time we did was during the pandemic, and I thought that was an extremely interesting time to see guys in a different element and all that stuff. And I think in retrospect, there are lessons you can learn from that. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, right? Like, I would love to see Xavier Villeneuve in a different league than Quebec, see what he's like playing tougher competition. But I mean, I still love him, but there's a bunch this year. There's always a bunch of them because a lot of them are in situations that I'd love to see. Like, I'd love to see Caleb Malhotra on not the most dominant OHL team we've seen in like a decade. I don't know, a long time. Like what Caleb Malhotra would look like if he had to play with, a Ryan Rubrek in Niagara or something this year. I think you would get maybe a different read on him. Not that I dislike Malhotra, but just putting that out there. Realistic projection for Max Plant. Production is impressive, but I haven't really watched much. Yeah, I mean, I think Max was one of these guys at the World Junior who I wanted to pay attention to because he's having such a good year. And, I think with his whole family, right? Because there's Max, there's Victor, and there was another Plant. There's another Plant brother. Zam Plant. And like they're all relatively similar. Like they're all undersized. I remember watching Max and thinking like I love his work rate. He's a very, very smart playmaker, but I just didn't like I could see a good college player there with the pace of his game and all of that stuff, but I wasn't sure about the NHL. I think the World Juniors, he didn't really stand out all that much, which you wouldn't expect considering I believe was the highest scoring player in the NCAA on the team. That was on the team, I should say. But yeah, like I don't know because he might be one of these guys where I don't think he's a bottom 6 NHL guy long term, but I don't think he's a top 6 NHL guy either. So does that mean he is maybe on the right team, a third or a fourth line guy that's a more of a playmaker, or an offensive leaning bottom 6 guy? I think that's possible. But I think it's like a I don't know, and you have to wait and see how he plays in the AHL. Like that's the big thing is like once he leaves college, you see how he plays in the AHL, and then you go from there. Because I don't have certainty he's an NHLer, but I'd like to see it because I love guys like that who work like that, make plays like that, work out. Same thing with Victor, to be honest. Like almost even more so. Like Victor is more aggressive, more physical. Just a guy that I love. So good family, good vibe, and I don't know. I hope so because I like guys like him, and yeah, it'd be, I mean, there's no player I don't hope makes the NHL one day. Is that true? Yes, that's true. I really like Verhoff, but I feel like if the Blues pick first, it's going to be the Blues taking Erik Johnson over Taves, Stahl, and Backstrom all over again. I mean, yeah, I don't think Verhoff is a contender for me to be the number one pick. Like, I have him in my second tier. My first tier goes to 4, Stenberg, Lawrence, Preston, McKenna, and then Villeneuve, Verhoff, Bjork, Gustafsson, Smits, Hawkinson, and Reed are all in the next tier. And I mean, I see what you mean. Like, I think Verhoff is a bet on upside. He's a bet on development, and there is uncertainty there. But I do think that the upside is there. I don't know if it would be like a huge mistake. But I mean, the names you mentioned, Taves, Stahl, Backstrom, all that stuff. Yeah, you probably want those guys. Now, all 3 of those players you listed are centers, and the only centers in my top range is Lawrence. That's the only one. And if Verhoff ends up a top pair defenseman, Erik Johnson won a Stanley Cup, didn't he? Unless I made that up.
I think he did.
I think he did. I mean, so did all those other guys, but that's a dumb point to make. Yes, he's won 1 Stanley Cup. The point is, I wouldn't take Verhoff first. But I mean, I did do a game of him the other day. I thought he was really good. He's looking better now than he did at the beginning of the year. I think if you have a team that like nurtures his offensive instincts, like the idea of Verhoff playing with an Adam Juracek one day is scary to me if I'm not a Blues fan. And so it isn't, I could see it working out, especially because he's an 08 playing in the NCAA and looking better and better, whereas Stenberg, Villeneuve, who else? Smits, Hokinson, Reed, those are all 07s. They all have more experience. They're all, I mean, Stenberg isn't, but McKenna's in the NCAA with him. Villeneuve is playing in a lower level. Anyway, I'm not super, it wouldn't be my decision, but I could see how it could work out. If you bring him along the right way. It's going to be so much fun when Toronto finds out the rest of the league doesn't like their players as much as they do, even Matthews. He's constantly injured and worse in the playoffs. I mean, I don't even think it matters. I don't think Matthews is going anywhere. I don't think that's going to happen.
He's also awesome, and I don't care. But you're not wrong entirely about his faults, but he's also Austin Matthews and amazing. And
but I mean,
he also gets overhated a little bit at the very least.
I mean, I think also like there are players on Toronto where if they decide they want to sell, they'll get stuff. Like if they do want to, I don't know, like I don't mind Bobby McMahon, but extending him for 5 years at like $5 million a year when there might be teams out there who love him and are willing to open their wallets for him, I think you take that opportunity. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, like that's a guy who I can definitely see the rest of the NHL really clamoring for. Mm-hmm. I think that's a no-brainer if you're another team.
Not a bad player, and I probably overhated on him a little bit just because like he would take bad shots.
Well, he's having a great year. Like he's having a great season. And so it's like I think NHL teams are smarter than just Toronto sucks, so everybody sucks, right? I think they can rightfully point out like there are some pockets of that team that we could snag and they're valuable. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I mean, like, yeah, like if you're Brad Treliving and you wake up one morning and you're like, I'm going to trade Austin Matthews, you're going to get nothing. Like it's pointless, right? Like it's not, but individual players, I think teams will want them, right? Like there's no such thing as a trade market, right? The trade market only exists insofar as the negotiation for each individual trade on its own. That's it, right? Like if 20 teams want Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the price is going to be higher than if 3 teams want insert other player eligible for the likely being traded at the trade deadline, right? Like, people wonder, well, a third round pick got this guy, a third round pick got this guy, and but you paid 2 second round picks for this guy. It's like, well, yeah, like there was more demand for the player that cost more. Mm-hmm. The thing is, you might just want to make sure you're not paying too much for what the demand is looking for, right? Like that's the ticket. That's the key little wrinkle.
Yes.
So yes, I mean you're partial, but you're partially true. It's partially true, right? Like there's definitely a magnifying glass on Toronto, and I think it gets overinflated at both extremes. Apparently, Minnesota and Winnipeg have had or recently had the same amount of regulation wins. Yeah, I believe that. Why do you like Smits more than Reed? Would you say that Reed was Team USA's best defenseman at the World Juniors, even though that's not saying a whole lot? I mean, he was very good at the World Juniors. I mean, I've got Schmitz and Reed 2 spots ahead, like, and in the same tier. Like, if a player's in the same tier, like, you could make an argument for one over the other, no question. And I think with Smits, like, literally every month, I think I'm switching those guys back and forth. But I think with Reed, again, it's similar to Carroll's. Like there's nothing necessarily like super wrong with him as a player, but I do wonder about the defensive zone play. I do wonder about how he generates offense truly translating to the NHL. And I know people say the same about Schmitz, and that's fair too. I that's why they're in the same tier. But with Schmitz, I see a lot. I think he takes care of the puck outside of the offensive zone better than Reed does. I think Schmitz plays really well on a team that is not doing so well. And actually, I'll shout out Tony Ferrari, who we had on the show Monday. He actually just interviewed Alberts this morning. So we've got a game tape with Albert Schmitz coming out at some point.
It's probably going to be sooner than some of the other ones that have already been filmed, just because Tony wants it out for the Olympics.
Right. Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that'll probably be the next one.
And that's the other thing too, is I'll be very curious to see what Schmitz looks like at the Olympics. Like that could be, not that I would agree with it, but that could be an event where NHL teams, just like they did with Slavkovsky, where NHL teams go, no, this is the guy. This is our guy. This is going to be it. And like Schmitz kind of plays like what I think people thought Levshinov was when he was a draft eligible. And I just think it's so much fun to watch him. Not that it isn't with Reed. But I think there's more like awareness in Schmitz's game, like his short range passing and his awareness of line mates and all that stuff at the pro level already is pretty darn good. Whereas Reed, it's not bad either. Like they're kind of weirdly similar. It's just their offensive zone approach is a little bit different. Schmitz is a little more reckless and offensive, he'll push to the front of the net. Reed is more like perimeter, puck protection, playmaking, all that stuff. And again, like if you wanted him ahead of Hawkinson and Schmitz, it would take a bit of arm twisting to put him over Gustafsson for me. But I could do it. It's really close. Like it's a tough year to sort out the top 10, 12 guys. It's really, really tough from my experience. Maybe even more than that. Any 2027 guys you've seen here and there that makes you excited for next year in their D-1? The Russians. Just Russia. Sergei Skvortsov, Yegor Privalov, is it Shtyrkanov? I think it's Vladimir Shtyrkanov playing with Moscow Red Army. Those are all great players. Next year, I really like Brock England. That's another Brock England, England. He's good too. I liked him quite a bit at the U17s. Milan Sundstrom. There's a couple of really good Swedes for next year too. Like next year looks good, but I will not do it. I will not say that it looks like a good draft class. I'm not going to do it because that's the kiss of death. You do that. And then 6 months later you go, wow, I'm sad. Because you get too excited, right? It happens to everybody. So I've learned, have a cup of tea, sit back, let the things happen around you, and just read and react, and that's all you do. But it is, I do like quite a few players for next year. And I mean, I have heard from multiple Russians that the 2009s are, they think, the strongest age group they have had in recent memory. Like they're like, it's incredible that those group of guys, and I've seen them play and they are incredible. They're really good players. A lot of them are really, really good. Do you play Silk Song? I don't. I played Hollow Knight when I was a greasy Toronto commuter. Hollow Knight was a game that I did play a lot on the subway to and from work. And I kind of lost it once the pandemic hit because like I don't really touch my Nintendo Switch anymore because
stop going to work.
Yeah, that too. They stopped paying me. So that also factors in, but But I mean, I don't really use my Switch too much because I'm not like if I'm on the Go train now traveling around, I usually have my laptop and I'm just working. The grind don't stop. And the Switch is usually like a travel thing, but it's kind of not because I don't, you bring it with you and you just never have the opportunity to use it. So I kind of stopped doing that too. So it just doesn't get used a whole lot. But I did like Hollow Knight. Silksong I haven't played. Like I liked Hollow Knight because in the situation I played it, it worked really, really well. Pick it up, play for 20 minutes, switch trains, play for 20 more minutes. You're at work. Cool. That's fine.
Oh, you had to switch trains.
I did.
Ooh,
yeah.
That sucks.
I had my Kiel. What was it? Kiel Station to St. Andrew Station was my commute every day for quite a while. Or High Park Station, I should say. High Park Station to St. Andrew.
I thought. Oh, were you talking about Oh, you're talking about the TTC. You're talking about
yes.
the Go train.
I'm talking this is like way back. This is this is pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love being a Kipling. So great that I have to go all the way to the end. and then wait
then a bus.
for train.
Yes.
No, and then no, it's bus, train, bus to get home. Well, actually, yeah, that's what it is.
That's too many. If you
It's
were
not that bad.
if you were looking for the pay less version, oh my god, the pay less version of Uri Slavkovsky in this draft class, who do you think that might be? Or is his current profile a bit too unique for this to be realistic? It's a good question. Maybe a Oliver Suvanto, but he's a center. Like a giant winger who just absorbs pressure. Sticks his bum out and has a time. Yeah, that might be the one. I'm just scanning up and down the list here. Yeah. Rudolph's Burzkalns might be like the Timu version of that. Just humongous and hard to knock off the puck and really good on the boards. But he's also a center. So that means he's better than Slavkovsky, actually, because he plays center. Vilho von Hatalo might be another one, but no, actually he's not. It's hard. Like, there's not a ton. Slavkovsky is pretty rare. What happened to Cole Iserman? I don't think anything happened to Cole Iserman, but I think Iserman is like, he always had real limitations in his game. He's not a very well-rounded player. Like, he's extremely good at what he does. Like, and that's kind of why I kind of want to let Ty Lawrence sort of figure it out playing with him, because Lawrence is very shot heavy in the games that I've done, and I would love to see him forced to be a bit more of a playmaker. Again, it's like this thing where his pace of play is so high, his energy in his game is so high that, like, I want to see him sort of pull the puck around other guys a little bit more and distribute the puck a little bit more effectively than he does, because you see moments where you really, really see a lot of positivity out of it, but he's also very shot heavy, which is unfortunate. Because sometimes it just doesn't work. And so Iserman, who is basically shots all day, shots for everybody at the bar on me, he's that guy, and a pretty physical guy too, and just up and down the ice pretty intense, but there's a limited profile there. And so how he'll interact with other players in the system for the Islanders, it'll be really, I think, come down to who he's playing with, because like, he scored all those goals for a reason, and it was due to his shot, but he also had a supporting cast that really helped him out. So yeah, there's a big debate in Carolina on hockey boards about whether they should trade for Trocheck or Panarin in the event that Pettersson is not willing to waive his no trade to go to Carolina. Yeah, I mean, if Carolina could add Artemi Panarin, I think that would be just fine. I mean, I think, well, I don't even know who's up the middle for that team.
Carolina?
Yeah. Like,
well, definitely Aho.
Yes. Yeah, Aho. Okay, so they got Aho, Stankoven, Stahl, Jankowski. I think that you could slot a Vincent Trocheck in there, and then you'd look at that team up and down and you go, wow, that's a heck of a team. I mean, honestly, you might even have the pieces to do both. like you could just do both. Knock Taylor Hall down to your third line or something and go, but like you've got Ehlers listed on the third line, right? Like I don't know if you need another high skill, high scoring winger, whereas Trocheck is a really good two-way center, and you do have Jordan Staal and Jankowski, but that would be, I think, another upgrade. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Panarin would certainly be a huge add to that team. I mean, your top line probably becomes Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, or Panarin, Aho, and like Svechnikov or Stankoven or something. Like you could mix and match and see what works. But God, I forgot they had Nikolai Ehlers. That's crazy that he's listed on the third line. I don't know, but it would definitely help. Either of those players would help, I think, and you could. I mean, it would be cheaper probably to get Trocheck, both in terms of assets and a contract extension, because Panarin wants one. So we'll see. But I might actually lean a bit more towards Trocheck, all things considered. But Panarin is the better player. After watching a shift by shift of his first couple of games, he's doing all the right things, neutral zone and offense zone. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. If you're talking Piparinen, then yeah, that's I agree. I agree. Bjork is playing first line center in the SHL today. Good for him. Attaboy. Ooh, AJ, rank the following pizzas.
Oh.
Cheese, pepperoni, Hawaiian, veggie, or meat lovers.
Okay. Pepperoni, number one. All right.
Agreed.
Like, anybody who doesn't have pepperoni number one, you're crazy.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed. 100%. You can tell the quality of a pizza spot just by the quality of the pepperoni pizza. It's the benchmark. That's it.
Cheese is number two. I like it more classic. And vegetarian sucks. Nobody wants vegetables. That's lame. Obviously last. Meat lovers next. And Hawaiian pizza is not pizza, but it at least tastes good. So Hawaiian in fourth. So pepperoni, cheese, meat lovers, Hawaiian, which isn't really pizza, but still good, and then veggie pizza. That's how I would rate it.
I mean, I would probably, I don't care what anybody says. I might go pepperoni. I'll go pepperoni, Hawaiian. Depends on the veggies on the veggie pizza. But I probably go cheese ahead of veggie and then meat lovers in last. I don't like meat lovers pizzas. It's too much. It's too much. I need a little bit of heterogeneity in my pizza. I think people just hate on Hawaiian because it's a meme. I just think it's.
I don't hate on it. I just don't.
No, I know you don't, but people do. It's like, oh, like the next comment. Anyone who puts pineapple on pizza belongs in a re-education camp. I just disagree with that.
Well, that's why I don't consider it pizza.
You ever had a pizza with cantaloupe on it? Because I have, and it was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. Get creative. Have some fun. Thoughts on Simas Ignatavicius and who's his NHL comp? Well, I don't think there's a guy you can give him an NHL comp to. You probably wouldn't even like it anyway, because it would be like, I don't know, like insert typical bottom six, decently physical, well-rounded guy. I think Ignatavicius is a solid player. The last game I saw of him was the best one I've seen of him for sure. But I don't know if I see, like, he's ranked as like a first round pick, I think. I think he brings a nice little combination of skills to the game. I don't know about where I would, like, I have him on my list and he's in my second round in the top 50. And like, I think that's probably where he belongs. I don't think there's a huge ceiling there, but I think he could be a good complementary presence on a line, enabling more goal score focused forwards and supporting his centers well and all that stuff. Like, the finesse in his game is a little bit limited. He's not a very threatening offensive player over time and time again. Like, but I think he has enough size and physical tools and enough there in terms of pace of play to do something, right? So insert your favorite solid, decent, physical leaning bottom six dude who makes a paycheck. You don't mind it. and you call it a day. There's like 100 of them in the NHL, and it's a pretty good gig.
And you have to be really good to be that kind of player.
Yep. Thoughts on Alphonse Frey? I know you're big on him. I mean, I think he's excellent. If you watched him at the World Juniors, you saw why I like him so much. Like, again, I talking off the top of the show about a guy like Carroll's. I had Frey a spot ahead of Perek, and I took a lot of poop for that.
Yeah, because Will's not a fraidy cat.
Oh. But I took a lot of crap for that. And a lot of people looked at Frey similarly to the way they looked at Perek in terms of he's a very offensive player and the defensive game is a question mark and yada, yada, yada. But I just watched Frey play, and I felt like he was a better puck mover. I thought he was a much more mobile skater in all four directions. He was more projectable with his offensive zone, sort of how he shakes off opponents. And while he doesn't have that like carefree attitude, that sort of I'm just going to waltz the puck into the slot and rifle it top shelf and look like I'm thinking about where I'm going for dinner after the game doing it. Like Perek is a good player, but I feel like there were some really big issues in his game that will take time to iron out. And with Frey, it's more about like a level of experience and maturity that needed to come. And, I think with Frey, it's like he may not score as much as a Perek does, but God, man, he is so efficient and so like he just eats minutes and he's playing. I think he's the leader on his team in shot differential in the SHL. And that was true last year in the second division as well. So like everywhere he goes, he is driving possession results as good or better than everybody on his team at the men's level. And so if you do that long enough and you play enough minutes and he gets deployment on the power play, the points will come. But at the end of the day, I think he is an excellent player. And I mean, look, Winnipeg's track record with putting their young guys in the lineup and trusting them and playing them and giving them experience has been terrible over the last few years. So who knows what happens. But let him stay in Winnipeg or let him stay in Sweden. Keep playing. I think, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't care how much or how little he scores. I just know that playing the way that he plays, and if I had him on my team, he's an NHL guy to me. Like just the skating ability and the smarts off the puck, and he's just so good going both directions, especially as a transition defenseman. And so I'll take that. I agree with you. I think Piparinen is very, very good. I just think, I don't know, don't twist my arm. You want Juho Piparinen over William Håkansson, but I look at Håkansson. He's more physically developed, but like the defensive game, I think with him is when the going gets tough, I think he's a little bit better off than Piparinen is. Not that Piparinen can't get there, but he is like he never does anything wrong, right? Like I don't know. I have all the time in the world for Juho Piparinen. He's really good. It's a good group of defensemen this year coming out of Europe. They're really good. Gustafsson though, the trajectory is crazy. What makes you put Cullen over Hextall? The skill level. They're very close, right? Like you're looking at guys that are 3 spots apart in a tier that I still don't know what to do with. But I look at Cullen and the skill level, the agility on his edges. I think he's a very, very smart player. I think Hextall is smarter, but I've been waiting for Jack Hextall to, like the last game I did of him, I didn't think he was particularly effective. Like if the play doesn't sort of come to him off the puck, he can be kind of nullified a little bit. Like if the opposing team is also aware and very smart and knows where he isn't super effective, but honestly, in reality, you probably draft, well, actually Hextall was ranked later, but barely. But I think with Cullen, like his shot is better. I think his skill through traffic on his own, like his individual confidence, I think is better than Hextall. I think Hextall is more of a really good complementary center who will make a guy like Cullen look a lot better. But Cullen is just so smart and such a great finesse player who can finish and set up a play. And he just keeps
cramming the numbers into the database over and over and over again. Whereas Hextall, it sort of happens consistently, but not quite as excitingly, I guess, is the way to put it. But they're both really good players and probably will be drafted too late. Late last night, I was thinking of what realistic Matthews trade would work. Okay, I'm not even doing that.
No, there is no realistic Matthews trade.
No, there isn't one.
It'll never happen.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
he's more likely to like leave in free agency than he is to get traded. You can't trade Austin Matthews. Like, if you trade Austin Matthews, fold the franchise, and like that's not a joke.
No, you figure it out. You figure it out with him. Like, that's what you do. You want to be the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs? Welcome to a rebuild, man. Like, you want to be captain of the team? Be the leader for the next generation, because you had 7 kicks at the can in the playoffs, or 8 kicks at the can, and couldn't get the job done. So we're going to reset. You know, it's like, now your job is different, you know? And then when you're 30 or 32, then you take more kicks at the can as the veteran guy leading his team to glory. That's the plan. I don't know what else you're supposed to do. But yeah, no. Yeah, no. Toronto. Sorry, I read the trade, and there's no way Toronto does that. You're trading Matthews with McMahon, a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick and a 5th-round pick for Oliver Moore, Anton Frondel, Václav Nestrasil, and a 1st-round pick this year. No way. No way.
That's insulting.
I'm
sorry.
I hang up the phone and
that's completely insulting is what that is.
No way. Would Chicago do it? Chicago would do that. Chicago saying no to that trade would be ridiculous. Like, I love Oliver Moore. I like Anton Frondel. Nestrasil is fine. You might get yourself a guy who scores 70 goals next year. Like, yeah. you make that trade. If you were stranded on an island, which 2024 draft prospect would you want to be stuck with the most? I mean, it seems very quickly that answer is becoming Albert Smits. He is a very entertaining individual. So it might be him. I did really like how Victor Plante came off on the interview he did for Game Tape. I thought he was a real fun guy. But it seems like Albert Smits might be the one for sure. Yeah, for the Leafs, freak the F out and panic sell everything right now. It's effing over. Yeah, quote Warren Buffett, exactly. Is Ben Danford's upside something like a better skating Jake McCabe? No, I don't.
Nope.
I think you're looking at Jake McCabe as your peak.
Light.
I think
Jake McCabe light.
Yeah, like I think you're looking at like a bottom 4. Again, it's like, what is Simas Ignatovic is going to be? He could be a guy that does a job and eats some minutes and is a fine player to have on your team. Depending on who he plays with, he might score, he might not score, who knows. He's fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You watch Danford at the World Juniors, and he did not look like a guy who was turning into a dominant defensive defenseman, but he's solid. He's fine. Jake McCabe, I think, yeah, that's your peak. I do not see him as a better version of Jake McCabe. How do you feel about the inevitable Owen Power and a first for William Nylander trade? Great. That'd be really great.
I will be going to a different place.
Yeah.
I will be going to a different plane of existence, in that I will not exist no more if that happens.
Yeah. What distinguishes a prospect from being just a good college player from a prospect that looks like an NHLer? Well, you have to think about it in the sense of, like, for example, right? Like, I think this is because of Max Plante. Max Plante is a first-line winger on a good team, and he's playing a ton of minutes, and they're giving him all the opportunities that you need to put points on the board, right? So, like, in the NHL, there is a level of physicality. There is a level of speed and quickness that you need to have, both in your head and with your feet and your hands, to be successful. And the bar for that is really high to be a constant threat as an offensive player in the NHL, right? Unless you have a coach who really knows what he's got and builds a lineup really well, matches the right guys up together, sticks with it, and whatever, like then you might get some really good results of like look at Washington last year. You might get some really good results out of some guys where you go, well, I wasn't expecting that. But like college hockey, it's like, could I see this player playing against the university, Michigan Tech, and putting 3 points on the board? Of course. Is he ever going to play a team like Michigan Tech ever again once they leave college hockey? No. Right? Like right now, Gavin McKenna is is a really good college hockey player because the skill and the creativity kind of can just happen and outweigh any issue, really, especially because he's playing so much on the power play. It kind of, you don't really need to think so much about the rest of the game because he's not really tested in that area very often, right? Like he doesn't need to back check or throw a hit defensively because that's not his job, right? And in the NHL, it might not be his job either then, but you got to know what you got, and you got to know. And so it's a case by case basis for sure, but looking like an NHLer to me is a level of pace, pressure resistance, physicality, and just consistency that you don't have to worry about. Whereas in college, it's like you can get by in college on your talent alone, no problem. If you can shoot the puck harder than your opponent, if you have more skill than half of the college teams out there, which, like there are a lot of really questionable Division I hockey teams out there. Like if you, like there are weekends you might come home with 8 points because you played Stonehill, right? And it's like, that's awesome. You're a valuable member of that team. You're one of the better guys on the team, but the NHL is a completely different animal. And so especially if you're like a guy like Max Plante, it's like, I don't see him on a lot of teams as being a bottom 6 NHL winger or center. And I don't know if he's got enough of what makes him special offensively to be a top 6 guy. It could very well come down to who he's playing with, and I could be wrong, but there's like it's a dividing line. It's an echelon, so to speak. It's a benchmark. Do you think the Habs will trade Bryce Pickford because they have so much depth in offensive defensemen? Look, if the rest of the NHL is as obsessed with Bryce Pickford as Montreal Canadiens fans are, and they're willing to trade a lot to get him, or you make a trade that has him as a package to get something that helps you now, yeah, you do that. Like, I like Bryce Pickford. He has been insane in terms of scoring goals for defensemen. Like, he's shooting, I think, 18%, at least 15% this year, which for a defenseman is stupid high. But I just watched the Medicine Hat Tigers the other day, and I tried to keep my eyes on Pickford when he was on the ice. I still think there's a lot of limitations in his game that will probably hold him back from being he's a small defenseman who is very, very heavy offensive, very shot heavy. He's been playing with Jonas Wu in the moments I've seen, and Jonas Wu, again, a guy I could see being a good college defenseman, but not quite an NHL level guy. Those two just cook all game long. They're just skating circles around their opponent. They're passing the puck back and forth, and Pickford's the one hammering it all the time. And that's fine and dandy, but I just don't know if his game is well-rounded enough right now to, teams skipped on him 300 times, right? They had their chance the year before he was drafted, and he was a mid-round draft pick last year, right? And he scored a lot last year. Like, teams have doubts about a guy like him, and I think they have reason to. So if, because of this season, all of a sudden, it's like a team is like, oh, you want Vincent Trocheck on the Montreal Canadiens? Well, that package has to be based around Bryce Pickford. I mean,
do the Rangers even like offensive defensemen?
I'm just pulling that out of my butt. Like, I don't know. But the point is, like, I don't know. I don't think you put your eggs in that basket if your priority is let's go for a playoff run here. I think if Bryce Pickford is a guy that you can get as part of a package that adds a huge part to your team, then go for it. Because I just think that, again, like, a defenseman who shoots the puck really well, to me, is like arguably the least valuable style of defenseman, because it's at the end of the chain of possession, right? how are they at getting the puck back? How are they at moving the puck up the ice? How are they at preventing the puck coming back their way? How good are they at setting up other players on their line? Because you're not going to score on 15% of your shots in the NHL as a defenseman. I don't think anybody has ever done that.
Maybe Bobby Orr, but that would be it.
Maybe
if there is one.
And I don't think we're looking at Bobby Orr here. Rubrex scored 6 goals in his last 10, 5 in his last 5. So awesome.
So he's elite.
He's elite. Yeah, there we go. We did it. We got there. When you scouted Gradin in his draft year, what did you find were his biggest strengths and weaknesses, and what do you think his upside is? So Gradin was good. I mean, I remember watching him and going, boy, like, he's putting together some pretty wild plays, and the skill level and his size is all really impressive. And, he's a guy where when he went in the first round, I wasn't surprised, but I don't know if I might have been a little sooner than I would have taken him. But the skill and the creativity and the upside was all there. It's just like off the puck, he kind of wasn't really doing a whole lot. He kind of rested on his laurels. He was kind of not a very physical guy from what I remember. His offense was really sort of, it came and went, very rush-oriented offensive game as well. I'm not surprised he went to Quebec and ripped that league apart before going to college, I'm not surprised he did that. And so, it seems like he's come a long way in terms of consistency and all that. Like a top 9 scorer somewhere in your lineup, I think he has enough complementary offensive ability to play up your lineup if you need him to, but I wouldn't expect him to be like this massive steal that you got in the late first round. I don't think he has a floor as a bottom 6 guy. So if he can't score in the NHL, if he can't drive offense in the NHL, I'm not sure he'll stick. But definitely the talent was never the question with Gradin. It was more about consistency, work rate, physicality, that sort of two-way stuff that you do kind of need in the NHL if you want to score. But when the puck hit his stick, man, he was exciting. Oh my God. Went to an Erie Niagara game, came out loving Kevin He. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of how I feel. You say you were wrong about Cutter Gauthier, but I remember you having him in the late teens, early 20s before he was on anyone else's radar at the beginning of that year. I did. That's true. I did.
You liked him.
I did. Fifth overall, I thought was wild. That's the thing. It's like there's always guys that I like, and then everyone else finds out about them, and then they're like, okay, they're a top 10 pick now. They're we're gonna take them 3rd overall, and it's like, whoa, like it kind of almost knocks me off my pedestal a little, because I'm like, what am I missing here? Like what? And then maybe there's like some sort of artificial like restraint where I'm like, I don't know, and then I just don't, I don't correct. But I don't know. With Cutter Gauthier, it was like, I saw that he was a great combat. It was kind of like Matvei Gradin. Like it was like the skill level for a big guy like that was excellent. And I remember just going like, this guy can slice and dice through opponents really easily. It's just like with him at the time, I watched him and I went, this guy is just shooting the puck from everywhere. It was like, give me the puck in the defensive zone. I'll slice through everybody, and then I'm going to rip it from the half wall 20 times a game, and I'll score on 2 of them because junior league goaltending. And to me, I look at that profile over the years and I go, it's a question mark. Just grip it and rip it guys who shoot it and shoot it and shoot it from the middle of nowhere all the time. Gauthier was definitely one of those. But he's definitely still doing the same thing, but just more refined and has a perfect line to do it with.
Okay, but Will, who would you have taken in his spot? Like, let's look at it this way.
What year was he? 2023?
2022, I think.
Yeah, he was Montreal, I think, right? The Montreal draft. Yeah, he went ahead of Juracek, Korchinski, Kasper.
But who'd you have ranked the highest at that point?
I mean, at that point, it would have been Brad Lambert.
And how would you feel about that?
I mean, it might be controversial, but I probably would still want Brad Lambert.
Yeah.
But it's close. Like Juracek, in retrospect, Gauthier probably would have been higher than at the time, probably not. But like Korchinski,
I think I might have even had Gauthier ahead of Korchinski at the time. Casper, they were right in the same range. Yeah, like selling me on Gauthier over Savoy would have been tough. Nazer, that would have been tough.
It's really
Ostland.
sometimes you just don't make a bet on a player because you like other bets better, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being wrong about a bet so long as you get similar value, or like as long as you make enough good bets that you're fine.
It's true. Just make
It
good
really
bets.
is like, I didn't buy this stock, but I bought another stock that I made less money on, but I was more certain about.
Yeah.
I'm happy going, okay, I could have made more money, but I feel like it's okay considering what I was feeling at the time. It's like that's kind of the way I look at it. Like fantasy drafts, you'll draft guys like you're just trying to find the best value you can get, and you're not going to hit on every single pick. But like when I'm picking in the top end of a draft, I'm just trying to. I'm like, let's say I have the first overall pick in a fantasy draft, like it could be football or hockey. I just want to make sure that my guy is a top 5 player, because it's hard to account for who's actually going to be the very best player. Like there's so many different things that go into it. So and he's a top 5 pick. If I have the 5th overall pick in a fantasy draft, it's like, okay, I want to have a guy that's at least in the top 10 of scoring at the end of the year. And like it's a different barometer because there's points that you need to get, or categories, whatever it ends up being per league. But it's like, you just want to make your bet good. It doesn't need to be like the exact right pick. It just needs to be something where you get value and you don't feel like you've completely wasted a pick.
Yeah. No, I
so
gotcha.
like this is the thing, as I've thought about it more and more. Okay, I didn't want to bet on that take a swing on that player. And maybe some other team did, and they were really rewarded for doing that. But what was the opportunity cost of taking that player? You were more certain about other guys. And a lot of those guys you mentioned that you were talking about, like I think Brad Lambert's had an unfair shot.
Yes.
So it's hard to like say, oh, he's better. Like it's hard to be like, yeah, that guy's definitively better. But
yeah,
at some level, it's just like you make the bet you make, and it's okay. Not all of them have to be perfect.
Yeah. Are people underrating Matthews this season because the Leafs are bad? I mean, if you think he should be traded, then yes.
People just overhate on Austin Matthews.
If you
think that's my thought.
If you think if you think the Toronto Maple Leafs stink and he's the captain of a team that stinks, and the guy he took the captaincy from is still on the team and has been okay, then maybe you're not underrating him when you're pushing questions on him and questioning his abilities as a leader.
What is he supposed to do at some level?
Well, but I mean, it's like there are times where he chooses not to talk to the media after games. There are moments where when during this season has he really, outside of maybe once, and there was one game a couple of weeks ago, I think, where it's like Matthews really put the team on his back and won that game for his team. Like sure. He has been by and large very, like this person says, 26 goals in 47 games, but didn't he have a 5-game stretch where he had a goal a game? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so. It's like he also, I'm the biggest Austin Matthews apologist on planet Earth. Okay. So I'm not going to pretend that my opinion is not in some way biased, because I love Austin Matthews. But it's like you go to work every day and you have morons who are in charge of your team, all right, who are bringing your team back to the freaking dinosaur age in the way they play. And there's a lot of pressure and attention here. It is mentally so hard to do what these guys do, especially in this market. And like, you could say, oh, move on if that's the case. It's like, well, you're going to run basically everybody out of town if that's the mentality, right?
Yep.
It is really difficult, and this team doesn't seem to manage anything all that well at the moment. Like there's a lot more injuries because they haven't filled the sports science director position, and that's ridiculous. It's it's mind blowing. I'm struggling to not curse because, well, seriously, that's why I'm like really tepid in terms of my.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's just it's brain dead. These guys are morons, and it's brain dead what Craig Berube and Brad Treliving are doing.
I mean, just for the record, Austin Matthews scored 11 of his goals between the 27th of December and the 19th of January.
Yeah.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. So he's outside of those 12 games, that's 35 games where he has 25 goals, which is not bad. But that's significantly low.
Too.
And he was injured. Yes, he was.
Look, I get it. I understand the frustration, or if people want to dunk on Matthews, like I totally understand why. It's just like at some level, his team doesn't get him the puck, and he can get himself the puck, but like they haven't, like the defense is so bad. There's only so much one player can do in hockey. Really,
yep.
Like there's only so much one player can do. I was talking about it with my buddy at work about like how the Raptors won their championship. Like they traded a guy under contract for a couple of years who wanted to be a Raptor for a guy who was a mercenary, but he was a superstar, and he carried that team to a championship because he was playing so much of the game. So much of the game is dependent on the superstars in basketball. It really is. Like basketball is a much different sport because those guys play like 80% of the game. Your star player in hockey plays maybe 23% of the game.
Yeah.
And if you can't get the puck out of your own end, what are you supposed to do? It's like Austin Matthews works his butt off in the defensive zone most of the time. Everybody's got a bad shift here and there. But largely, he's very good at helping out that way. It's just that's where he's been needed because the defense can't do anything. They can't get the puck back. Watching Brandon Carlo trying to retrieve a puck is a nightmare. Jake McCabe has some like ability, but it's like they also are just incentivized to just get rid of it immediately too.
Right.
And it's annoying. It's so annoying to like watch this team because they play like dinosaurs.
Yep, they do.
So what do you want them to do? William Nylander was so good at the beginning of the year, and he had to be. Like, there was no other choice. William Nylander had to be the guy to, like, save that team. And he couldn't even do it, and now he's hurt, on, like, a weird injury where he's celebrating.
Yeah.
It's just a disaster. It's not, you can't put it on, like, when the Leafs brought in Phil Kessel, they expected him to be a freaking superstar, all right? And, like, be the driver, the primary force.
And he turned out to be the greatest of all time.
No. Phil Kessel was a good player and, like, maybe an elite complementary player, But, like, he didn't do the rest of what was needed. You need other guys to fill different roles. Austin Matthews and William Nylander can't go play defense, like, as a defenseman too. They only play so much, and it's a more physical sport than like basketball in terms of, or a more intensive sport in terms of like how physical it is. And like that's why guys make line changes all the time. Like you can't play, maybe I'm rehashing this point, but it's like there's only so much you can do in hockey to actually like change the situation. And somebody has got, like, he needs help. He needs help. And
he needs help.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
If you want to say that that's not like he's not an elite player because of that, by all means you can say that, but I would just disagree.
Thoughts on Maxime Massin and how he will do next year with UMass? He should be a good college player. He's big, physical, gets around okay. I think he'll be fine. I don't know. Cole Eiserman is leading the Boston University team in goals and second in points. Why is BU bad? Look at the team, man. Like they're full of very average play. Like I saw a line chart the other night where Jonathan Morello was their first line center, and like I'm sorry, but like that's not a winning, that's not a first line center level player, right? Like I like Kamil Bednarik, but I never expected him to be like a super high end guy, at least not this quickly. Conrad Fondrick, super high upside, but you definitely want more out of him. I was never big on Jack Murtagh. I was never big on Charlie Treadaway. Never really big on Malte Voss. I liked Carter Amico, but he got sent home already. I was never a huge Boisvert guy in the first round where he went, but you know, like they have Cole Hudson and he's been excellent for them. But I look up and down this roster, like Ryder Ritchie. I was never a huge fan of him either. Like, you know, there's a lot of guys on this roster, some of whom I do like, you know, like I like Brandon Swoboda and everything, but they don't, looking up and down the roster, they just don't look like a very high end college program. Like that's kind of why I'm willing to excuse Tynan Lawrence a little bit, because like I look at their defensemen, and if it's not Cole Hudson moving the puck, maybe Boumediene, but like he's a bit of a risk factor. Everyone else, it's not really their strong suit, moving the puck to their centerman and out of the defensive end, and Lawrence kind of does need that, and so that's a little bit of a question mark. But at the end of the day, yeah, I don't know. Why are they bad? I look up and down the roster and I go, they've got a lot of middle six, bottom six dudes who, you know, they don't have that like X factor really on the front end of things, and their defensive depth is pretty shallow. Who's Ivar Stenberg's comparable? I've seen people rave about him, and some thinks he's fine but not generational. I mean, I would probably like, the name that always comes out of my mind a lot is Seth Jarvis. Like a first line winger who can make a play but can also score, may not be the superstar that everybody, you know, aspires to grow up and be, but a very valuable member of the team nonetheless, and kind of can do the dual threat offense thing and do it well. You're right. Maybe Trocheck will cost more than Panarin, but maybe. Thoughts on Lawrence's college production so far? We kind of talked about that a lot already. What is the deal with Wigo's loan? Do you think he'll get time in the U20? Was he loaned out? Because I know he was loaned out to Vecqua for one game. Yeah, he was loaned for one game. He's back with his old team. And he's got 8 points in 5 games since going back to his old team. So, yeah. That's a good trade for the Matthews one. Yeah, no, that's
terrible.
Yeah, no. They're not. The Leafs are not going to trade him. The Leafs are not going to trade Austin Matthews. They are kind of being dumb, but they're not that dumb. Like, you're not going to trade the cap. Like, no, the whole thing revolves around him, and it's not his fault the team is bad. Like, it's, you know,
they have a chance to be good next year if they
it's
just
possible
fix the D group. They've done it before, like, where they had a not so stellar D group.
It should have
2020, and then they were a good team in 2021 that collapsed. But I felt like that was a play style issue, wasn't a personnel issue.
I don't know if it did this, but the fact that Troy Stetcher was a waiver claim and is 5'10" and maybe outside of OEL looks like the best defenseman on that team consistently, that should be a wake up call. That, like, not only is it not good enough, but like that is the direction the league is going and has been heading. Like
it's the direction the smart teams go towards.
Like,
you know,
like, and like Troy Stetcher being a guy that moves the ship in the right direction for Toronto and playing 20 minutes or whatever. It's like, it shouldn't have to be Troy Stetcher. But like a player like that,
you'd be awesome as a third pair guy.
Sure.
Like, that's your third pair defenseman.
You're great,
laughing,
right? And if he's your first
laughing.
pair defenseman, he looks good, but you're a bottom end team, you know. So I don't think a guy like Matthews or Nylander, they're just the scapegoats because they make all the money. But like, they're not on the ice for a third of 2/3 of the game, something like that. Like, more often than not, they're not on the ice, and when they are on the ice, they are the better players on the team. Like, you don't trade those guys, and especially for a collection of guys that might be in your middle six for the next 10 years. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Matthews if you trade Austin Matthews and he goes off and scores 70 points next or 70 goals next year, people are gonna lose their friggin' mind. They're gonna lose their mind.
You don't trade Austin Matthews. You never trade Austin Matthews unless he tells you, trade me and I'm not playing ever again. You know, like it's just wild.
Yeah, no. The most Toronto. Oh, if Toronto keeps their pick in the top 5, they could have McKenna next year. That's true, and Leaf fans would love that. Oh man, Leaf fans if they see Gavin McKenna cough up the puck one time, they're gonna freak out. Have you seen much of Lavergashalov? Yes, I have. I don't really like him that much. I don't see an NHL player there really. Very skilled, but yeah, I don't know. Not my vibe. Quinn Hughes is a better player than Matthews right now and didn't get half as much as that. Yeah, I mean, and he also wanted out. Like,
wanted out.
Yeah,
he wanted out. Okay, you can say he's a better player right now, and honestly, that's fair.
It's true. It's true. Like, I think.
Sure. But I may not like that.
I mean, and also Vancouver did get a lot. Like Rossi and Bouillon and a first-round pick, and
but also, but Quinn Hughes is like, get me out of here. I'm not resigning. Yeah. Like, he wasn't coming back. Austin Matthews has made no indication he's not coming back. Okay, like,
yeah, no,
you don't need to shake things up for the sake of shaking things up. We don't need an earthquake for no reason. All right, like, you keep your foundations in place and you work around it. And really what this team needs is guys who are mobile on the back end who can outlet the puck, and they need to play faster. The reason the Florida Panthers have been so successful is because they are relentless. They forecheck like crazy. Their defensemen can jump up into the rush, and their forwards can cover, and then they wear you down with just pounding you. I've said this before. They're like the Mongolian horde coming to break down the walls of your city, and they are not gonna play fair. They're gonna hurl diseased bodies into the settlement.
Yeah.
All right. That's how they do it. Yeah. But it's not as if like they have other effective measures to like play good hockey. I just think so many people are wrapped up in the idea of, oh, it's physicality that wins. That's the reason Florida is so good. That's secondary. Is it an important part of who they are? Absolutely. Yeah. But the primary reason the Florida Panthers win hockey games is because they forecheck like crazy. They cause you to make mistakes, and then boom, puck is in the back of the net because any guy can be dangerous on that roster.
Yeah.
Is Brandon Carlo going to be dangerous? No. Is Philip Myers going to be dangerous? No. All right. You need guys who can move and really like push the pace and force mistakes. I feel like the biggest problem with the old Leafs, like the Sheldon Keefe, Kyle Dubas Leafs, they didn't do that enough. They tried to play like a chess engine, and that was the problem. They tried to play perfect hockey when it is literally impossible to do so.
Yeah.
And if they just were a little more forceful, that team could have won. Like in terms of like pushing the pace and really taking it to their opponents and be like, I stumbled over my words because I was gonna swear, but it's like you just play with this F you attitude. Nope, I'm scoring.
Yeah.
No, we're the better team. We're gonna come in, we're gonna show you why, and you don't have a chance. And you kind of need to adopt that mentality and play like it. Play to win. Don't play to not lose. And that's what they did. Now we're going backwards because they're like, oh, this team lacks physicality. And like that's the intensity that people believe has been the problem. That's not the problem, or was the problem. The problem was they didn't score because they didn't generate dangerous enough chances in the playoffs because they were predictable, trying to stick to their script of what works, and it didn't work when teams had enough time to game plan them.
Yeah.
Just go out there and take it to them. Matthews' best game in the playoffs was like that one game in Boston where he just dominated because he just took it to him. He just took it to him. They didn't win that series, but that game was a glimpse of what Austin Matthews can do in the playoffs. And they got to play more like we're the goddamn best team and we're going to go out there and crush it. Even if you're not, just play with that confidence and like and play with pace and intensity. And they have failed to do that. And now they're in a downward spiral, and I am talking forever because it is maddening.
You're in a downward spiral too.
Yeah, I have a job now.
Yeah.
Loser.
I don't know much about next year's draft. Can you name me some players with similar profiles to Logan Hensler? Oh, there are many better players than Logan Hensler, my friend. I mean, there are a bunch of them. Piperinen, Hawkinson, Gollier. I like Ala Lowry out in Finland. Brek Liskey is a pretty good guy too. I don't know if he's like similar to Hensler. Yeah, no, there's quite a few. Yeah. Lincoln Keene. I know he has 0 points at ASU this year, but I've actually kind of dug him. I think he's got a long way to go, but defensively he seems pretty good. Thank you for your balanced take on Pickford. Our Habs is pretty settled on trading Reinbacher since they have some third-round overager that's going to be Hudson's D partner for life. I mean, look, it's Reddit, my friend. Like, welcome to Reddit. Look, I really liked I mean, number one, screw Habs fans for all of a sudden jumping off the Reinbacher wagon when they've been screaming at me for 5 years about how he's the greatest defenseman that ever lived. And I actually turned around last year and finally was like, all right, he's actually kind of decent and looking pretty good for a guy who's injured so much. And like, he might be an actually pretty solid addition to the to what the Habs are looking for and kind of need. And now all of a sudden I'm dumb for wanting to keep him. No, I mean, look, Bryce Pickford.
You suck. It's as simple as that.
Bryce Pickford has not stepped on professional hockey ice one time, and he plays on probably the most offensively skilled team in the WHL that is not the Everett Silvertips. Even then, probably more purely skilled. So he's gonna shoot the puck a lot. He's gonna score a lot of goals. The NHL is a very, very, very far ways away, I think, especially if he's going to be more of a balanced player. But Reinbacher looks like a guy who, once he gets his feet set and he's healthy for a while, I would at least see what you've got in him before jumping on the trade him wagon. Like, if anybody would be a decent partner for Lane Hudson, it may very well be David Reinbacher. Is Alexander Holtz the biggest bust in recent memory? Probably. Michael Dalcol was pretty rough. Griffin Reinhart, that was a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Lambert in the AHL, 10 points in 25 games. Do you think you're holding out too much hope that Lambert will be as... Oh, sorry. No, I forgot you could Google him and see that he has 10 points. I forgot. Now that you've pointed this out for me, he's actually awful, and yeah, he's bad. Sorry for believing in him.
Yeah, how many points does Fabian Lysell have in the AHL? Let me see.
I mean, look, Brad Lambert, when he plays in the NHL, he is...
34 points.
So he's good then.
He's almost a point per game.
Lambert, like with Brad Lambert, again, it's about scenario. If Brad Lambert were drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, I bet you he'd be in the NHL.
Oh, he'd be the number 2 center on that team.
The Winnipeg Jets, as an organization, fundamentally do not play kids. They do not, unless they are Logan Stanley or, I mean, look at Cole Perfetti. There was a time where people thought Cole Perfetti was going to get traded off the team because they couldn't find a place to put him on the roster. Nikolai Ehlers even was...
They barely played him
for his entire career. They played him too little.
And he was one of the better wingers in the league.
They've gotten rid of him, and now they're awful. Like, it, you know... So maybe they don't have the best grasp on like who key contributors can be for their team. And if I'm Brad Lambert, I had an AHL All-Star level season when I was a rookie in that league.
Yes, and then you go out and get Jonathan Taves and are like, sorry kid, you're not playing. We're gonna trust this guy who has won a Stanley Cup before, but hasn't played in like 3 years.
And all of the evidence in my entire life watching Brad Lambert play hockey is you put him on the wing and he is way worse. And the Jets just keep plowing him there all the time and wondering why he's not getting good results. Like,
why does he suck so bad?
Like, I know he's not 6'4", whatever, but think of, like, if I had him in my system, I would have been planting him at center. You'd send him back to the WHL where he was very, very good, and I believe he played center there too. But then he goes to, he goes to the AHL after that. And I would have just said, we're going to work on you being a center and just work on you down in the AHL, and you're going to work through it, and we're going to get you there because that's where he's very valuable, up the middle of the ice. And they just haven't done that. Like, I will hold out hope. Like, and I also, he's probably at the point he's asked for a trade and he hasn't gotten one yet. And so
probably at the point where it's like, well,
yeah, like,
you know how dejecting it is to work at a place that sucks and you don't like,
right? And you're in Manitoba, like,
yeah, and you're in freaking Manitoba,
and you're in Winnipeg, right? Like, it's like if you're knocked off,
I left Finland to be colder.
If you're knocked off your mental game, it's probably really hard to get it back. And like, I know he's not
Elias
a perfect.
Pettersson,
He's
look
not
at that guy. He's amazing.
Like,
and the problem is Vancouver. I can tell you that for a fact. The problem is Vancouver.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, do I think he's a perfect hockey player? No, I've never thought that. But he needed development. Like, he needed the right pathway. And it seems like Winnipeg, like, it seems, this is the problem too, right? Like, I might be overextending, but it seems like guys like Lambert are curiosities to teams. They see Brad Lambert, who as this wunderkind 16-year-old Finn who was playing pro hockey and shooting the lights out, and everybody fell in love with him, and he didn't meet the expectations in his draft year, and he fell in the draft, and they went, well, I mean, he's probably a good bet at the end of the first round. He's not the first guy we drafted. We got Rucker McGroarty already, so why not, right? I don't know if that's true. Either that or they really did love him a lot and went, wow, we got a great player, but they're not utilizing him like that. They're utilizing him like he's a curiosity, and it just hasn't worked out. Mm-hmm. And that's fine, but that's not, I don't know. Again, it's like, people said the same thing about Gavin Brindley last year. He had like 10 points in the AHL last year, and now he's he's injured.
Liner.
He's injured, but he's in the NHL.
No, I don't think he is.
Oh, he was.
I don't think he is. He's on the third line right now, because I pulled up Colorado, or at least from what Puckpedia says. Let me check on Daily
the
Face
best
Off.
Even strength team we have seen in a very long time. Like, and I'm not saying it's all because of him, but he's the type of player that contributes to that. And with Lambert, like,
yep, third line.
Yeah. So with Lambert, it's like
playing with Taylor McCarr, baby.
I get the feeling that there are teams out there that are desperate for a guy like Brad Lambert, and he is a frustrating player. But that's what a coach is for.
I'd be desperate for Brad Lambert, man.
That's what a coach is for. A coach is there to put his hand on his shoulder and go, stop shooting it from the goal line. Like teach the kid, right? Like, that's your job. It's, so I will give up hope on Brad Lambert when his career is over. Like, I think that's the type of kid that, like, look at how I'm talking about him. Like, if he were sitting right here with me, I'd be like, everybody thinks you suck, man. Look at my chat. Everybody thinks you suck. Everybody's making fun of me for liking you, but I'm not making fun of you. Like, come over to my team, and we need to get your head put on straight a little bit. But if it happens, you have a ton of potential. So, I don't know. I think that I will get off I'll get off the wagon when he retires, right? Because I've seen him enough over the years where I go, I just can't believe Winnipeg isn't like plopping him on the roster, even in a depth job, and just riding him. Like, he's playing fourth line minutes when he does play, and his teammates are like Parker Ford and I think he was playing with like Jansen Harkins at one point in his career. Like, just not a match that's going to work, right? Like, it's just not a good fit, and they've got him on the wing, which is not a good spot for him, I don't think. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. With the Jays hiring record, I wouldn't count on Rogers making an out-of-network hire unless Dubas gets fed up with the Pens. Seems like nothing's going to happen. Probably, yeah, you're right. I mean, look, it's not going to be good for Toronto. Like, I don't know. I don't have that much hope, honestly. It's looking rough, and we'll see what they do. Like, they were in on Rasmus Anderson. They're supposedly in on Luke Shen. Like,
why? Why Luke Shen?
I don't know. But if that's what they're thinking
before,
if they're thinking that they're what was the trade? They wanted Braden Shen last year, and they offered Ben Danford, Easton Cowan, and a first-round pick. and the Blues said no. And Braden Shen also said no because he only would go if Luke Shen was there too, I think I heard. And that to me is insane, number one, on like all sides, right? Like every side of the equation, that's just insane. But if that's what the trajectory is, then yeah, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, it seems. I don't know.
Just fired Treliving, all right? This guy's a moron. He is. And I don't care.
Yes.
I'm not getting a job in the NHL, and I know it, so I don't care anymore.
Yep.
This guy's a moron, and you can be the son of Mr. Boston Pizza and get through life. All right, stop ruining my hockey team.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's rough, but at the end of the day, see that Leafs might actually trade Nylander or Matthews. I don't think that they're that dumb. I think they are, like, they also just extended William Nylander. There is no goddamn way anybody is trading him. Like, maybe they are that dumb. I don't know. Maybe maybe. Would Brad Lambert be better on the Devils than the third line than Cody Glass? Probably. Like that's what I mean. Like the situation and the deployment and the history and the developmental situation. Like if you're mentally just shot from playing in the AHL for a number of years where
in Winnipeg
and you're not getting a really good look. Like, let's see. Who are the guys? Let's see. We'll do this and then we got to close the show out. But looking up Brad Lambert's NHL line mates over the last few years, who has it been? Brad Lambert. Not a perfect player. Yeah, so he's got 10 games of experience split across 3 seasons. Like, that's nuts. So he played this year, or last year, he played with Perfetti and Nemesnikov for a couple of games, and then David Gustafson and Alex Iafallo. And then this year, his line mates were Parker Ford and Cole Koepke. And he also was on the line with Nemesnikov and Iafallo for 2 games. So they've given him 2 games at a time with guys who are like third liners. And boy, his numbers this year are bad. Holy smokes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He probably doesn't want to be there.
I think that ship has sailed and you're just prolonging the inevitable at this point. I don't know. Like, look, I look at how again, it's about fit. If I were running an NHL team and I could get Brad Lambert for a 4th round pick or something and just see what happens and believe in him and give him a fresh start based on how I want the game to be played, how I would use him, I think he would be a fit. Like, he is speedy up the middle. He's a great passer in open ice. His shot selection in the NHL has been wildly not good. But you can work on those things. Like, that's an experience thing. He's not going to figure it out and just I don't know. Anyway, the point is, I'll believe in him because I've seen the frustrations, but it's not like
Will's not jumping off the bandwagon. All right. And it's like, I may have been wrong about Fabian Lysell being like this really high-end level player, but I'm not getting off the bandwagon in terms of him being a very useful player.
Useful one.
You know, that's just where I sit, and you just don't. These guys don't have the same level of opportunity. Now, Fabian hasn't done himself any favors, and he's had opportunity, but Brad's just gotten no fair shake.
Well, Fabian Lysell has 12 total games played in the NHL, you know?
Yeah, and he's almost a point per game in the AHL this year. And Boston's not a particularly amazing roster. I'm sure I'd find a player that I'd rather him be on the roster in their stead. Like I'm sure I can find somebody who I'd swap him in for. But it's not my call, and it's not Will's call that Brad Lambert gets so little play time.
I mean, next year
and gets frustrated, you know. And like Nick Robertson's also another example, you know. Like these are guys that we love that we don't feel like have gotten a fair shake at times. And now Nick Robertson has the opportunity this year, but the team's so bad that it doesn't matter, and people give up, or even more like hate him even more now because he's now got the opportunity and it's not working out. Like
honestly, like the 2021 draft goes to waivers next year. There might be some good players on waivers next year you could snag and give a second chance to. Like you've got,
absolutely.
Let's see who you got in here. You got Liesel, you've got Lambert, you've got maybe Isak Rosian out of Buffalo. You've got I mean, Olin Zellweger's probably not going anywhere, but he'll be waiver eligible next year. Who else? Scott Morrow could be on waiver wire next year.
I would not be surprised if he is.
Yeah. I doubt Ville Koivunen will be on waivers next year, but he's also going to be eligible. Atu Rati. Who else is in here? Maybe Samuel Hellenius. But yeah. Yeah. Ayrton Martino will be waiver eligible.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Simon Robertson. He could be a fun pickup.
Yeah.
Remember Brent Johnson? The Brent Johnson hype.
Yes.
He's he's a decent ECHL player. Kyle Dubas actually signed him. He's a Pittsburgh system guy.
Oh, nice.
So there you go.
Kyle Dubas and me agree again.
Yeah,
what a surprise.
Who would have thought?
What a surprise.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get out of here. It's after 4:00. I've got some other stuff to do for the rest of the day. So thanks very much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back Monday night. Again, check out our game tape episodes. We've had some good ones come out lately. We got more coming down the pipe. If you haven't, checked out Scouching.ca. Get yourself a subscription. Join our Discord
video
server.
rooms coming out too.
Yeah, I got the first video room video is available for subscribers through the Discord server, so you can check it out there. And yeah, I don't know. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Watch out for the snow out there. It's pretty wild. And I know Toronto's still digging out, but yeah, I don't know. Any final words?
Right, I had to go to work that day.
Oh, good.
That?
Fun.
No, I literally had to go into work that day.
Love that.
My mother said to me, "So, are you going? You're not going to work, is what you said, right?" And I'm like, "No, of course I'm going to work." And she's like, "Are you sure?" Yes, I'm expected to go to work. My boss showed up too. He's like, "You guys are in here. I'm coming in here." Like, that's what a good boss does. Craig Berube doesn't throw his guys under the bus to the media.
Oh boy.
Takes the blame himself sometimes, even if it's not actually his fault.
True. Well, if those are your parting words, we could get out of here.
They're my parting words.
All right. Well, then we'll see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Gorbachev is soft.
Gorbachev. Yeah, I mean, hey, a lot of Russians don't seem to like that guy now, so here we are. Anyway, on that note, a little bit of Russian history, I guess. We'll see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Stay tuned. We got lots coming, and have a good weekend. Okay, bye.
Bye.